Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World Between Worlds. I'm your host, Matt, and this is the Wrestlemania Night 2 review. Excuse me. We're just going to be going over all the matches that happened of Night 2, kind of where the feuds, I could see them going from there. Hold on. Bless me. And we'll take a look at everything that WWE put on for today. This was overall, by far, so much better than Night 1. Night 1 was, now that I'm looking back at it, I had a day to see it. It was probably the worst WrestleMania I've ever seen. Now, keep in mind, I'm 25 years old, but I really only started watching WWE and wrestling and seeing WrestleMania probably from like one of the first Money in the Bank matches that they had there, right? So I don't know what WrestleMania that was, maybe WrestleMania 20 something, is when I started, and so I haven't seen all of them, but from my, I'd say 15 to 20, 15, I'd say years of watching this product, that was the worst night of wrestling I think I've seen produced by WWE, and I sat through all of Vince McMahon. But we're not talking about Night 1. We're talking about Night 2. Again, this was so much better. And it started off strong with Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. Great choice to have this open. I know Brock opened it mainly because he was a big ESPN guy, and that's just what people know him of, And they had a great match. And when Brock came out, I thought, oh, shoot, man, Brock's really going to win here. They're selling this thing like $1 million, right? And then Obafemi came out, and I'm like, yeah, Brock's still going to win. And then they had the type of match that I wanted them to have. Actually, I will say, I was surprised at the beginning when they started with a collar and elbow tie-up. I thought they was just going to go straight Brock Lesnar, lift Femi, beat him in the corner, hit an F5, or hit a German, hit F5s, Femi kicks out. They trade finishers, and then whoever wins, right? That's how I thought this match was going to go. I don't know how long they went. They went the amount of time that they should go, so maybe 5-6 minutes maybe, but it did get back and forth, and it started with a collar and elbow tie-up and a show of strength. And the first, I literally out loud said, oh, Brock's willing to work. That was my first thought. And we know Brock Lesnar puts in effort when he deems a feud worthy of his effort, right? Like with Dean Ambrose back at WrestleMania, whatever that was, he didn't really care. But for this one, oh my gosh, he's been selling his butt off for Obafemi and doing the job every single week, making this Obafemi guy look like the next big star. And that's exactly what it turned out to be, right? So they had a great back and forth, trading blows. Lesnar gets the upper hand after the collar and elbow tie-up, puts Femi in the corner. Femi gets up and pushes him off just like Goldberg did back at SummerSlam, right? And that was a great moment. Again, they go back and forth a little bit. Brock eventually hits some suplexes, gets the upper hand, hits an F5. Femi just powers up, unaffected by the F5, hits a massive choke slam, and then just calls for the finisher, hits whatever his pop-up power bomb is. 1, 2, 3. I couldn't believe it. WWE put stock in Obafemi and had Oba just destroy Brock this whole feud. And shout out to Brock Lesnar. Kudos to that man. Mad respect, because he put Obafemi over like his life depended on it. Brock sold for this guy every single week, and Brock doesn't have to do that. Brock showed up for Obafemi every single week, and Brock doesn't have to do that. Brock could have just as easy just phoned it in, showed up one week, okay, Oba's the dude. Maybe show up 1 week after, hit F5 on Oba, leave. And then show up to WrestleMania, hit F5 and win. He could have done that, but he cared enough to put Obafemi over in the most grandiose way that I've ever seen someone be put over and pushed. This is the fastest push other than Finn Balor, if you know, you know. But Obafemi beat Brock Lesnar and then exited the ring. And it was everything it needed to be. And a great job, WWE, for making this decision. Great job to Brock Lesnar for being okay with that decision, because Brock could have just as easily said no. But the big story kind of came after the match. If that wasn't big enough, big story came after the match. Brock Lesnar unlaced his boots, left his gloves in the ring, and retired. I mean, it looks like Brock Lesnar is done with WWE. That's how they made it out to be. That means no Gunther match later on down the line at SummerSlam. Obafemi was the last WWE superstar to fight Brock Lesnar, and therefore Obafemi retired Brock Lesnar. What a turn of events. This is not something that I predicted at all. I mean, it had been reported that Brock Lesnar was going to go out at SummerSlam because that's where his hometown is. Mad respect. I love this so much. I'm going to miss seeing Brock Lesnar on our screens for sure because he was a once-in-a-lifetime type of athlete and spectacle. And now that we have Obafemi here, Obafemi is here to fill that Brock Lesnar-sized gap that WWE has. And again, I thank you, Brock Lesnar, for giving us the Obafemi that we know we should have. So, 10 out of 10 match, 10 out of 10 angle at the end. This was the best way to open WrestleMania. Moving on right from that, we got another match of the night contender. It was the Intercontinental Championship ladder match against Dragon Lee, Penta, the champion, Rey Mysterio, Javon Evans, JD McDonough, and Rusev, right? And there was just too many spots in here for me to take any notes. Javon Evans hit a huge OG cutter off of he sprung into the ring from the outside apron, hit a huge OG cutter on Rusev in the ring. Everyone had spots to shine. One of the big ones came when Penta dumped Rey Mysterio up over the top rope onto Rusev through a ladder in between the announce table and the apron. Great stuff here. Penta also hit a Canadian Destroyer on JD McDonough. Of course, it's JD. And commentary put over JD so hard in this match, just selling us on everything he's doing. And then at the end, even though JD lost, that was the first person they shouted out that had an excellent performance, or Michael Cole specifically. He said JD is going to be a future champion here, and I believe it because JD McDonough is one of the most underutilized talent that they have right now. He deserves an Intercontinental Championship reign for sure. And JD McDonough is just one of the best talent that WWE has. Their talent roster and pool is just so deep. It's just unfortunate that, we have to utilize, like, on Raw, if Raw is 3 hours, they utilize 2 hours for freaking ads and backstage segments and promos and stuff when, the focus should be on wrestling. If we focus on the wrestling a little bit more and still tell stories through wrestling, JD McDonough could be world championship material, not gonna lie. But anyway, great Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Penta ended up retaining. Totally okay with that. Again, I could have been okay with anybody winning this match just because this match sold me on everybody in here. Dragon Lee, awesome performances as well. Just, I love to see it. Love to see this match. The main card started, so that was all on ESPN2, I believe. The main card started with Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. This was still a pretty okay match, pretty good. So Lil Yachty pretty much helped distract Sami Zayn long enough for Trick Williams to hit the trick shot and win. So Trick Williams won the United States Championship with a little bit of help of the Little Yachty. As for celebrity appearances coming in, Yachty was not one that I was concerned about, and he played his role perfectly. Yachty got physical a little bit, and he paid the price for it. Sammy beat him up a little bit in the match, and again, it ended up having Yachty be part of the finish, which I'm totally okay with because as a WWE fan, I want that title off of Sammy, right? I want Trick to win. A lot of people did too. So seeing Obafemi and Trick Williams win here. The first 3 matches were just showcasing the future of WWE and how bright it is. And I see it. It's very bright, and I love it. Trick Williams, new United States champion. That's going to be great. I'm really hoping he could run a program with Carmelo Hayes coming out of WrestleMania. That's going to be, if they run back something like they did in NXT, pure gold. Let's go. I love this stuff. So, they had, a fine back and forth match. Sami Zayn was playing completely heel. I think even on the SmackDowns before, he's been a little bit of heel, but kind of like like delusional one, thinking he's still a good guy. But this is complete heel Sami Zayn. Love to see it. Trick Williams maybe had it kind of resembled a double turn here, but I don't think it was going to be that outright. But again, super happy Trick Williams won. Good match. I'd say out of 5, this was like a 3-star match. All right. Moving on, Demon Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. They added in the stipulation to a street fight, and this, I would say, was more chaotic and brutal, I would say, than the unsanctioned match from the night before between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu. That should not be the case in a street fight. We'll get into all that, what they should have done type of thing here. Maybe in this video, maybe in a different one, but either way, Demon Finn Balor, I love seeing this guy. Finn Balor is probably the best, I would say, best technical wrestler that WWE has on the main roster. I love his moveset. He moves like a menace in there. He still moves like he's young. He still moves like his New Japan days, which is so nice for me to see because he's by a good margin my favorite wrestler on the main roster in WWE right now. Maybe even in all of professional wrestling, Finn Balor is number 1, I would say. So I loved seeing his demon character back. I don't think it needed to come back to face Dominic, but he's back. There was a really cool spot. Finn put a chair on Dom's neck and shotgun drop kicked him into the corner with a chair around it. This is going into the finish, so the chair just flew everywhere. Looked really awesome. He then set Finn up on a table and hit a coup de grace through the table onto Dominic Mysterio for the win. So Finn Balor, the Demon, won. I'm hoping he could focus on a main event run. Please. With Roman champ, no one's going to beat Roman until SummerSlam or WrestleMania. So World Heavyweight Championship is out of the question for Finn Balor. If it was on CM Punk, then maybe a CM Punk versus Finn Balor feud would be so cool for the World Championship, but obviously that's not the case. I am intrigued to see what Finn Balor does next. Maybe an Intercontinental Championship run from Finn. We'll see. Give this man a title. I want him on my screen more and more and more. This was, I'd say, I think Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams was probably the weakest match of this card, and still is fine. Very, very good. It was definitely a WrestleMania caliber level match, I'd say. Moving on, Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship. They have a good back and forth at the beginning, and then Jade gets the upper hand and pretty much dominates Rhea for the remainder of the match. I mean, Rhea's working underdog here. Jade is made out to look like a monster, and Rhea is meant to look like a little kid who can't beat their bully, is what it is. So, let's see. So, Rhea is going for a Razor's Edge in the corner, and that's when B-Fab and Meechin come in and start running interferences and stuff. So they were about to beat up Rhea Ripley even more on the outside after all this, and then the ref sees them, and then Io Sky ends up coming down, making the save, hits a big moonsault off the ropes, takes out Meechin and B-Fab, which allows Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill to kind of trade finisher reversals until Rhea Ripley wins that exchange, hits a Riptide, and wins the title. It was good. I liked seeing Io out there. I'm glad they gave her something to do on Mania, so she's at least doing something. It should be a match. It should have been a match. God forbid if they get get rid of all their commercials, or at least one set of commercials on night one. They could have fit Io versus Asuka, right? But here we are. We have to settle for this. I'm still okay with it. It shouldn't be okay, but I'm okay with it. Io Sky coming down to save them. Maybe they could run Rhea versus Io at SummerSlam or something like that for the title. That's really good too. So, again, they kind of gave this away when Bianca Belair came out last night and said she was pregnant. That kind of gave away that, okay, she's probably not going to be wrestling Jade. Jade's probably going to be Jade's probably going to be dropping the title. Good match. I like this. And then we got the main event. And it hasn't felt like a WrestleMania main event even a little bit last year because we had the anticipation of maybe The Rock. But I think we're all still chasing the high from WrestleMania 41, I believe. No, 40 with Cody and Roman, right, when he finished his story. This was really good. The anticipation was absolutely there. The promo package before showing Punk sitting on top of Allegiant Stadium, that's what WrestleMania hype should be like. Seeing that and seeing Punk walk out to that song, and then Cult of Personality hitting when he's already on the stage. I think that CM Punk's portrayal of the main event is beautiful. Beautiful. I loved this stuff, and it really cemented the fact that this is the main event. Something's gonna happen. This is gonna be so good, right? Starts. I'll kind of go through all my notes here. It might be a little rambly, but it says great back and forth to start. So I guess the match really starts getting deep in it when Roman hangs CM Punk up on the top rope on the outside and used him like a punching bag. He hit 3 Superman punches in total, got the steel steps, and then busted him over the head with it. Punk's bleeding from his mouth and head. And this is like halfway through the match. And so eventually Roman goes for a power bomb and puts Punk through the Spanish announce table, right? And Roman at this point is just brutalizing Punk about 15 minutes into this match. So then they go back in the ring. Punk ends up countering, hits GTS, kick out at 2. Roman's just mocking Punk. Punk's mocking Roman. They're going to try to hit their moves. They trade finishers for a little. They trade submissions. So guillotine into Anaconda Vice, right back into a guillotine. And then eventually there's a big double down, right? That's where Punk low blows Roman after he takes off the tape, and the referee grabs the tape, throws it away. Punk hits a low blow on Roman, and then sets him up on the announce table. Or no, hits a GTS, but Roman moves out of the way. I can't remember the sequence of events, but eventually they get their way back out to the announce table. Roman's on the English announce table this time, and Punk goes where Speed went the first night, to the top rope in the ring, and hits a huge elbow drop through the table onto Roman Reigns. Great spot there. In my mind, I was like, oh gosh, Punk, please be careful. He's not fragile, but he's not his young, limber self that could afford to do this stuff. So, scary seeing Punk up there, but I'm really glad he was okay. I'm really glad the spot went very, very well. He throws Roman into the ring, goes for a GTS, hits one. Roman bounces off the rope and lands back on Punk's shoulders. Just a classic way that CM Punk won the World Championship against Rollins. So Punk tries to lift up again and just collapses because he's just tired. He's gassed. He's old, right? Roman hits a spear and then another spear and beats CM Punk clean as a whistle. And that was it. No rock, no nothing, no interferences. Just a straight one-on-one match. And the story coming out of it is CM Punk's stamina is what really, gave it up for him. Which I think is a fine story to tell. Some people might find it flat, the way that it finished. But I think that WWE needs to start steering away from all these grand finishes to Mania and bringing in everybody and run-ins and all of that stuff, because then it's going to be the expectation every time. And when this match started, I said, okay, I almost don't want The Rock. Don't put The Rock in here. Don't put anyone else in here. Just have him go one-on-one. Don't give us anything. Condition us to expect what's in front of us, period, right? That way when the surprises do happen, they mean that much more, right? So I really liked this. I enjoyed the fact that there was nothing at the end. It was just Roman winning, right? That's all it needed to be. Just a good, classic WWE storyline with a clean finish. I don't remember the last time a clean finish happened in the main event of WrestleMania, where there wasn't a run-in, wasn't some shenanigans, right? Sure, there were low blows, but it didn't play into the finish. So I love that. That was exactly what this needed to be. So that's night 2. I'll be going kind of in depth on what I can try to fantasy book and expect WWE to do going forward out of Mania. But that was my review. Short, sweet, simple. This was so much better than night 1. Night 1 was, looking back at it, maybe a 2 out of 10. This one was like 8. 8 out of 10. The main event was really good. I enjoyed the opening so much. The first 2 matches were probably the best 2 opening matches in WrestleMania history to me. I loved all those. This was a wrestling show, and I'm thankful that we got some wrestling here. The matches felt a little bit longer. Again, the ad breaks don't bother me just because it gives me time to just scroll and do whatever. You know what I mean? I know it bothers a lot of people, and it's probably going to be another complaint coming out of this from everyone else that covers this type of stuff. Me personally, I wasn't too affected by it. Also, I was a little behind. I was 30 minutes behind, so I just kept on fast-forwarding the commercials when I could. But yeah, this was so much better. WWE redeemed themselves. Night 1 was TKO's messy job of a night, and this was WWE and Triple H putting on a spectacle for us, and I appreciate that so much. So, if you appreciate this type of content, make sure you like and subscribe and follow for more. Yeah, I've been Matt. Thank you for watching The World Between Worlds.